golden sunrise spills across the endless Serengeti as a fragile newborn zebra foal named Kalo rests quietly within the tall glowing grass beside his mother. Soft savanna wind moves gently through his striped fur while the vast African plains stretch endlessly beneath the burning horizon. Tiny innocent eyes slowly open for the very first time as little Kalo stares into the enormous wilderness surrounding him. The newborn trembles violently while struggling heroically to stand upon weak, unsteady legs beneath the rising sun. Again and again, Kalo collapses softly back into the thick golden grass while survival waits impatiently around him. His mother gently nudges him, lovingly refusing to let her fragile foal surrender to the harsh savanna. Summoning every ounce of strength, little Kalo rises shakily onto all four legs against the warm morning breeze. He takes his very first clumsy, awkward step while tall grass brushes softly against his striped body. Determined despite fear and exhaustion, Kalo slowly walks toward his protective mother beneath the endless African sky. Soon the hungry foal nurses eagerly beside her, gaining strength for the dangerous journey waiting ahead. Curious young Kalo lifts his head and stares across the breathtaking empty savanna stretching endlessly before him. But as the glowing sunset turns blood red across the plains, danger begins moving silently through the darkness. Kalo's tiny ears twitch nervously at strange rustling sounds hidden deep within the shadows surrounding them. Instinctively, the frightened foal presses tightly behind his mother's strong legs as night falls across the Serengeti. Then suddenly two terrifying glowing eyes appear within the dark brush nearby. Kalo steps backward in pure fear as a vicious drooling hyena slowly emerges into the faint moonlight. Moments later, more hungry predators appear, surrounding mother and foal beneath the eerie blood-red sky. The pack circles closer and closer while Kalo presses his trembling striped body tightly against his mother for protection. Without warning, one hyena explodes from the darkness, lunging directly toward terrified little Kalo. Instinct takes over. Kalo barely dodges the predator's snapping jaws before sprinting desperately through the tall, dry grass. The terrified foal races beneath the crimson twilight sky while savage hyenas chase closely behind him. He stumbles violently over a hidden rock but forces himself upright again, refusing to die. Looking back in horror, Kalo sees snapping jaws closing dangerously near his hind legs. Pushing beyond exhaustion, the frightened foal runs faster than he ever has before across the moonlit plains. He follows desperately behind his mother's tail while another hyena attacks savagely from the side. At the final second, Kalo leaps heroically over a fallen log while predators crash wildly behind him through exploding dust. Foam and sweat cover his striped body while the terrifying chase tears endlessly across the dark Serengeti. Finally, mother and foal disappear safely into thick brush, leaving the furious hyenas behind, defeated by darkness itself. Exhausted beyond belief, little Kalo collapses within the hidden brush while his chest rises heavily beneath the night sky. Morning arrives with thunder. Kalo awakens to the deafening sound of thousands of pounding hooves shaking the earth around him. Stepping cautiously beside his alert mother, the young foal stares in amazement at an endless migrating herd stretching beyond the horizon. Zebras and wildebeests move together like a living ocean across the golden Serengeti plains. Kalo blends perfectly into the moving sea of black and white stripes while sunlight glows across his growing body. Soon the young foal trots happily beside other zebra calves beneath the beautiful African morning light. Massive wildebeests accidentally slam into him while dust clouds explode around the moving herd. Struggling to stay close to his mother within the chaotic migration, Kalo marches beneath the scorching, blazing sun. The endless journey pushes the young zebra across dry, barren plains filled with cracked earth and glowing dust. Exhaustion weighs heavily upon him while vultures circle ominously high above the endless savanna sky. Kalo carefully steps through dangerous thorn bushes and past the bleached skeletons of animals lost to the migration. Then suddenly the entire herd stops moving. The frightened foal lifts his head and smells damp air drifting from somewhere ahead. Soon Kalo stands trembling at the edge of a steep muddy cliff overlooking a raging brown river below. Terrifying dark shadows move silently beneath the violent muddy water while adult zebras leap fearlessly into the chaos. Then Kalo sees it. A massive crocodile slides silently into the river from the muddy bank below him. Panic spreads through the herd and suddenly Kalo is pushed helplessly toward the dangerous cliff edge. The terrified foal slips violently down the muddy bank, nearly plunging face first into the roaring water. Barely regaining balance, Kalo stands frozen inches from death itself. Then with a deep, terrified breath, he leaps directly into the raging river. Instant chaos erupts around him. Kalo swims frantically through violent muddy waves while the brutal current drags him farther from safety. Keeping only his nose above water, the young zebra desperately fights against the unforgiving river. Suddenly, he loses sight of his mother within the aquatic chaos surrounding him. Panic fills his eyes as wildebeests thrash violently beside him through the roaring muddy current. Then death appears beneath the surface. A giant crocodile races silently upward toward terrified young Kalo. The monstrous jaws explode from the water inches behind him, while Kalo kicks desperately with every ounce of strength remaining inside him. Swept violently downstream, the exhausted foal struggles to keep his head above the churning river rapids. A submerged rock slams brutally into his body, but Kalo refuses to stop swimming. Then another terrifying shadow glides directly beneath his belly through the dark, muddy water. Driven only by survival instinct, Kalo paddles fiercely toward the distant muddy shoreline ahead. At last his hooves touch solid ground beneath the shallow water, dragging his exhausted, soaking body through thick reeds. Kalo collapses heavily upon the opposite riverbank, gasping for breath. Slowly the trembling foal rises again and shakes muddy water violently from his striped coat beneath the sunlight. Looking backward in fear, Kalo stares at the deadly river he somehow survived crossing. Moments later, his mother appears safely beside him and the reunited pair continue walking toward a new unknown land beyond the river. But the Serengeti offers no mercy. Ahead lies a brutal drought filled with dying grass and endless burning heat beneath a cloudless sky. Kalo pants heavily with a dry, cracked mouth while chewing desperately on thorny dead grass to survive. Every exhausted step becomes more painful beneath the unforgiving African sun. Soon the young zebra stands hopelessly beside a completely dried, cracked waterhole. He sniffs the broken mud, desperately searching for even the smallest sign of moisture beneath the dying earth. Exhausted eyes stare upward toward the cruel, endless sky while Kalo leans weakly against his mother for support. His fragile legs buckle violently beneath hunger and thirst, yet survival instinct forces him onward through the barren wasteland. Then suddenly Kalo freezes. Far ahead, a tiny shimmering patch of green appears through the heat waves. Slowly the exhausted foal approaches a small muddy puddle hidden within the dry savanna. Desperate for life, Kalo lowers his head eagerly to drink the precious muddy water. Then a low, terrifying growl echoes through the grass nearby. Kalo lifts his head sharply and freezes in horror as a hungry lioness emerges silently from the yellow savanna. Fear grips every muscle inside him while the deadly predator stalks closer and closer through the dry grass. His brave mother instantly steps between Kalo and the lioness, protecting her weakened son. The giant zebra rears upward, fiercely delivering a thunderous warning kick toward the stalking predator. But suddenly the lioness roars and charges. Kalo spins instantly and sprints desperately through dangerous thorny acacia trees while sharp branches tear painfully across his body. The terrifying chase explodes across the dying savanna beneath the darkening sky. Then without warning, thunder shakes the horizon. Heavy storm clouds swallow the blazing sun while cold wind races violently across the plains. Kalo pauses briefly as the very first raindrop touches his exhausted face. Moments later the heavens erupt. Torrential rain crashes down across the Serengeti, washing dust from Kalo's striped coat while rivers of water flood the thirsty earth. Defeated by the storm, the drenched lioness finally abandons the chase and disappears into the rain-soaked grasslands. Safe at last, Kalo stands proudly beside his mother beneath the life-saving storm. Rain pours endlessly across the reborn Serengeti while the once fragile foal lifts his head toward the future with fearless eyes. No longer the trembling newborn hiding behind his mother from circling hyenas. Kalo now carries the soul of a true survivor of the African plains. From a helpless foal hunted through darkness, rivers, drought, and predators to a young zebra forged by endless hardship and courage, Kalo's journey becomes the spirit of the Serengeti itself.